welcome back to my channel. I'm Mariah, your Dairy State vegan, and today we are going to make vegan stuffed shells with my homemade tofu ricotta. Stay tuned. Okay, so one of my favorite meals before I was vegan was stuffed shells or lasagna. And so once I went vegan, I made it my mission to make a really delicious recipe that would fix that craving and I would be missing nothing. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this recipe. Now, full disclosure, I do have a pot of sauce that I made from scratch simmering on my stove that I've been making for about 3 hours. You can totally use a jar of sauce and doctor it up if you want to. If you want to see how I make my homemade sauce, comment down below and I will do a video on that. But for today, I really want to focus on just the elements I use and this homemade tofu ricotta because it's a total game changer. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to saute up until the onions are translucent, half of a large yellow onion and 2 tablespoons of garlic. You don't have to make your onion as small as I did. I just did that so it'll cook up a little bit faster, but this is all going into a food processor with the ricotta anyways. Then I have a big pot of water, salted, boiling so that I can add my jumbo shells to it. And of course my sauce over here simmering. Again, if you don't want to make a homemade sauce, totally cool. It's -53 with the wind chill in Wisconsin today, so having a sauce cooking on my stove all day has helped to keep the house nice and warm. And if you're judging me for the splatter, all I have to say is it's not a good sauce if it doesn't splatter everywhere. So once these onions are nice and sauteed up, we will move over to our food processor and make our tofu ricotta. Okay, so now that our onions are somewhat translucent and smelly, we're going to add them to the food processor where I've already put 1 block of extra firm organic sprouted tofu. And then I'm going to set this pan to the side because these stuffed shells, I'm going to make these spicy Italian Beyond sausages and I'm going to add it, and I'm just going to cook that in that pan so I don't make extra dishes. Okay, so we are adding our onion and garlic. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. You don't need a ton of this. Ricotta is a more mild flavored cheese, so you do not want to overdo the nooch on this one. Apple cider vinegar, just a tablespoon. Also, I did not press my tofu for this ricotta. Reason being, ricotta is a wet cheese, so you don't want to get all that moisture out of the tofu. It really helps you with your texture here. And that's all you need for the basic tofu ricotta recipe. We're just going to puree this up and then I'll show you what I add to it for my stuffed shells and lasagna when I make it into lasagna. Okay, so we are all pureed up and I just want to show you this beautiful texture. It is just like ricotta. It's got a little bit of the grainy. It's nice and wet. It's just the perfect ricotta texture. Now, I prefer my lasagna and my stuffed shells like we're making today to have spinach in the cheese layer. This is a really great way to add greens, especially for me because I'm pregnant right now, actually almost 12 weeks as of today. So we're gonna add some spinach and then also some Italian seasoning to add a little extra flavor to this layer. This is of course totally optional. If you don't like spinach in your stuffed shells, just omit this step. This is just how I personally prefer it. For the Italian seasoning, we're adding about 2 teaspoons. Not a whole lot, it's dried seasoning, it's pretty strong. Plus we have all the flavor that we'll get from our sausage and from our sauce as well. And there you have our perfect filling for our stuffed shells with tons of added protein and greens for my baby I'm growing in my belly, and also my 10-year-old boy who is growing every day and needs all the nutrients I can pack into his food. Alright, so our pasta came to a rolling boil. I just dumped the shells in We're gonna cook these for about 10 minutes till they're perfect al dente. Then, because it's so cold outside, I'm gonna put them in a bowl, toss them in olive oil, and put them outside for a couple minutes to cool before I have to stuff them. In the meantime, I am browning up our Beyond sausages that I just kind of diced up, and I'm gonna break it up even more. And then I will come back when all of this is done and show y'all how to assemble it and some final touches. So my super hot shells were outside for less than 10 minutes, and some of them froze. But we're gonna start filling them anyways. We'll just fill the not frozen ones first. But whoa, this polar vortex is real. Okay, our sauce is done, and I've added the sausage into the sauce. I don't like to cook my sauce with the sausage in it all day because I like the flavors to complement each other and not mix. I also froze and then grated a little bit of the Miyoko's mozzarella fresh vegan mozz to go on the top. If you freeze it, it shreds up really, really well. I do just a little bit because I just like it mostly to be pretty, but you can do more if you want. And we are just gonna take our shells and start filling them, and then preheat our oven to 425 to 430 degrees so that by the time these are all filled, we can pop them in the oven. Now I took my tofu ricotta and put it in a pastry bag. Full disclosure, I usually do this with just a spoon, but since I am trying to record this and make it a pretty video for YouTube, I'm using a pastry bag. You can just use a spoon, but we're just gonna fill them and place them in our pan. And then once this is all done, we're gonna sauce them, top them with some cheese, and bake them in our oven for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna finish filling these, and I'll be back when it's time to put them in the oven. Okay, so now that they're all nice and filled and cozy in the pan, we're gonna sauce this. I do have about half the package of shells left over. Do not worry, they won't go to waste. I have a friend who slipped and fell on ice this week and is actually gonna need surgery on her ankle. So I am making some of my meals into double meals to be able to freeze for her. So the rest of these will go to good use, but for now we're just working on this for our house tonight. Now people come from two different schools of thought with stuffed shells. Some don't like a lot of sauce. I sauce them a lot. I like them to be swimming in it. So we're just gonna cover it. That way once we take them out of the pan, each shell will be nice and covered with a good amount of sauce. And then we're gonna sprinkle this with our Miyoko's vegan mozzarella. Like I said, you can do more or less, whatever your preference. You can skip it all together. And we're gonna pop this in the oven at 430 degrees for 30 minutes. All right, and there we are all plated. My son is starving and so ready to devour this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe so you don't miss more recipe videos. I will be having a last minute Super Bowl treats video coming out this weekend. In the meantime, we're gonna go devour dinner and watch the new Shane Dawson. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye.